Okay, so today we'll be making a pasta with Gorgonzola sauce. I'll be using these noodles here. This is Penne, purchased at Costco here in Tokyo. Rather inexpensive product. Very good for the hearty sauce we're making today. The olive oil I'm using here is also the Kirkland brand, which is of course Costco's signature brand. I keep it in a smaller container. This is the size I buy though. Once the olive oil has been heated up, I'll be using this minced garlic, again purchased at Costco, and this is actually very easy to use because it saves you the trouble of mincing the garlic yourself. It doesn't quite have the punch of raw garlic. It's preserved in what I think is citric acid because there's a slight tartness to it. But actually that tartness works well in sauces of this kind. The cheese is this here, BelGioioso, crumbled Gorgonzola, also purchased at Costco. I believe this is made in Wisconsin in the United States. I'll be adding some milk as well, some Meiji milk here. Little pepper, black pepper on top, dried parsley, and of course some Chardonnay. This is an Australian Chardonnay that comes in a box, 5 liters worth. So let's get the cooking process started. I've already have begun to boil the water for the penne, and now I shall make the sauce. Okay, so this is a front row seat here. I'm going to start out with some olive oil. Got that on a medium flame right now. It'll heat up quite quickly. And you'll notice that I have all of the ingredients on the ready over here so that I can just add them as I go. This sauce cooks very quickly. The slowest part is the cooking of the penne, which takes about 11 minutes after it starts, after the water comes to a boil. So I'm going to maneuver this oil around a bit here, make sure that it gets heated evenly before I start adding my garlic. When I'm lazy, I just pour it directly in there. Today I'm going to be a good boy and spoon it in. And I use this very liberally because it's actually pretty mild for a garlic. As I said, it's been preserved in citric acid, so has a bit of tartness to it. Just going to brown it a bit here to give it a little character. Don't want to burn it. Burned garlic is very, very bitter. So we're just going to finesse it a bit here. Cook it. And the surprising ingredient that shall follow is milk. You don't really expect olive oil, garlic, and milk to go well together, but this is a very good way to give it body and prepare it for that last pouring of white wine there, the Chardonnay. So the garlic is coming along here quite nicely. As you can see, there is a lot of it, and it is taking on a nice brown color at the moment. Don't want it to make too big a mess here, although there will be a bit of splattering. So the color is getting to be about right now. Want it just a little more brown. You'll notice that I'm not going to add salt to this because the Gorgonzola already has quite a bit of salt in it, and my blood pressure is on the high side, so I want to avoid the extra sodium. Okay, so that garlic is now looking like it's getting a little bit brown, taking on a little bit of crispiness, and so time to thin it out with a little bit of milk here. Okay, so the milk goes in there nicely. Gonna cook that garlic just a tad more. And our water has come to a boil here. So it's time to add the penne. This is way more than I need. What I'm going to do is eat my fill and then put the rest in a Ziploc, and that'll go into the freezer. So I can take it out anytime, boil it, and have it ready to go. Okay, this is getting a little bit hot at the moment. So now it's time for the Gorgonzola. Just dump some of that on there. Never use measuring cups. Just kind of play it by ear. Mix that around a bit, maybe use just a tad more heat. Okay, and that's going to thicken up very quickly, so it's going to need some more liquid. And that's where our friend Chardonnay comes in here. Okay. And that Chardonnay puts out the fire quite quickly. So I'm going to turn up the heat just a little bit there. And enable the Chardonnay and the rest of the ingredients to melt the Gorgonzola. And that will just cook for a while. The noodles, the pasta, off and running here. Some people put salt in. I don't quite see the need for that, so mine shall remain salt-free. Sauce coming along very nicely. At this point, I think I can add my pepper. Like a lot of that. You get a very nice accent from it. Okay, now it seems a bit on the hot side, so I'm going to turn it down so I don't get any burning. But the sauce is taking on somewhat of a thick consistency right now. Smells nice, looks very nice. And I think I'm just going to let it simmer for a few minutes on its own. Cover it up. Mix the penne a bit because we still got a few minutes to go. And we'll fast forward ahead. Now, here's an optional product that you can use. Again, this is sold at Costco, and it's mixed nuts and a really nice selection. It contains Brazil nuts, which I'm not very fond of. These guys here, they are on their own on the bland side. They mix very nicely with this Gorgonzola sauce. So what I do is I chop them up like this. Just put them on the cutting board here, cut them in half, and then cut them into very small pieces. And then I can add that to my sauce here. Okay, so the noodles are ready. I have retained the water they were boiled in because I might need some of that water there to thin it out. So here are the boiled noodles. They go inside. I just now have to mix in the penne with the sauce. And it was cooked a while there, so it's very thick. So getting these to mingle together is a bit of a challenge. And maybe that's why we'll need just a little bit of that leftover water from having boiled the pasta there. Not very much. I want it actually swimming in that. we'll just put a little bit on there, just to sort of make it luscious. And it's looking kind of like a finished product now. And after a process of about 15 minutes, here is the finished product. I sprinkle a little bit of that parsley on it, and I'm ready to dig in. So give yourself about a quarter of an hour to make this. It tastes really good. Got some leftover penne you can store in the freezer, boil whenever you need it. And I hope you've enjoyed this video. See ya.